Grass strips in arable fields provide a multitude of benefits, not just for biodiversity, but also for your farming business. In the landscape, they act as wildlife corridors across the farm, linking together other valuable habitats like hedges and woodlands, and they provide excellent habitat for a whole range of birds, mammals and insects. In arable fields, the vast majority of wildlife interest is found along the field boundaries, so well-managed margins are hugely important for the biodiversity of your farm. Grass strips will usually occur either as margins around the perimeter of an arable field running alongside a watercourse, or across the middle of a large arable field, in which case they are more commonly called beetle banks. You can of course create grass strips of your own as a management tool, and as a boost for wildlife on your farm. However, you're most likely to be creating and managing grass strips either as part of your EFA greening requirements or under an agri-environment scheme. In order to make the grass strips work better and be of more value to your business, you should consider their location carefully. They can occupy problematic field margins, perhaps ones which are hard to cultivate or are persistently low yielding, such as those in the shadow of woodland. For maximum wildlife benefit, they're better sited along hedges or woodlands where they'll complement those other habitats and provide an even better resource for biodiversity. Avoid hedges with blackthorn, as this is likely to sucker in the grass strips and try to create an area of scrub. Beetle banks running through a large arable field and across a slope can help to prevent soil erosion. There are minimum requirements for grass strip mixtures under both EFA rules and AICS. However, there are a plethora of options to add to these basic mixtures to make your grass strips more valuable for wildlife on your farm. Consult your seed supplier and discuss your options. What mixtures and specific species have worked well in your part of the world before, and what would they recommend? What will work well with your soil type? The more varied you can make your grass strips, the more species are likely to use them. The choice of seed mixes should also relate to the siting of the grass strips. Obviously, mixtures with a greater number of wildflowers will fare better on southern or easterly facing margins. Shaded and north facing margins will be better suited to a grass dominated mixture. The variety of margins is important. Many insect species have complex life cycles, and several need to hibernate over winter. Dense and tussocky grass margins will provide a better amount of thick cover at ground level for these overwintering species. These tussocky grass margins, which will harbour overwintering insects, are best located along shaded margins where ground temperatures will be more consistent. A freak warm sunny day in late winter or early spring on a south-facing margin can interrupt the insects' hibernation and disrupt their life cycles. As insect life is the foundation of the food chain, the more varied and insect-friendly you can make your grass strips, the better. With more insects in general, the greater chance there is for your grass strips to harbour insect pollinators, which could improve crop yields. There's also a greater chance of them harbouring beneficial insects, which will predate on crop pests. The wider the grass strips are, the greater the influence of these beneficial insects is likely to be toward the centre of the field. Establishment of the grass strips should be carried out when soil conditions are good for sowing, just as you would for arable cropping. Using a particular type of seed drill may need to have a bearing on the seed mixture you use, as the seed sizes in the mixtures can vary a great deal. If sowing a particularly varied mixture, be aware that the different sized seeds can settle in the hopper over time and may need to be agitated to ensure a good mixture. Partially filling the hopper with only enough seed to do specific areas of grass strips may be better than filling up with the entire seed supply for the entire farm. Grass strips established under AICS must be cut or grazed, however those done for EFA do not, although they can be if required. By leaving the EFA margins untouched, this will allow the grass strips to mature and leaves the wildlife in them undisturbed for an extended period of time. When the growth in the EFA margins becomes too rank, they can eventually be cut back or grazed. Many arable farmers utilise a sterile strip between their margins and the growing crop. This is obviously to keep the crop clean and free of weeds. However, this bare strip of soil also has several benefits for wildlife. In spring, when chicks of ground nesting birds such as grey partridges or brown hare leverets are left vulnerable by constantly wet weather, these areas provide an area where they can dry out and regain body heat. Insects too will use these areas to sun themselves and gain warmth to maintain their life cycles.